Hello and welcome to Let's Make It Vegan. I'm Chef Fred, and today we're going to take on General Tso, whatever you want to make it. So one of the main reasons that I wanted to do this recipe, there's actually a few. Number one, it is one of my favorite things from before becoming vegan and still now and after. The whole General Tso sauce is something that's really flavorful, and it can lean different directions as far as how you want to take it. It's a spicy, sweet, very adaptive kind of a Oriental sauce that lends itself to a lot of applications. We are all familiar with General Tso's chicken. If you're vegan, you've got your General Tso's cauliflower or tofu or bean curd, all that are available at many of your local Oriental takeout places, whether it's a little guy in a strip mall or a nicer restaurant. These are the kind of things that are available to us. One of the things that I like to do is to make sure that we're able to create this kind of thing on our own, and it's not that difficult. Another reason why I did want to come up with this, as far as showing everyone how to do it, on my previous, over the past couple years, I have a business called Plant-Based Chef Consulting, and I've put photographs and descriptions of making this on there. And that's been one of the most commented on and questions asked kind of things that I've had. So to everyone that is familiar with Plant-Based Chef Consulting and chef.fred311 on Instagram, this is everything you need to know about what I've created on there. And now it's going to be available to everyone to make your own, develop how you like. And I'll go through everything I do to make the sauce, and everything that I'm going to describe is interchangeable, and you can make it more spicy, more sweet, less sweet, as you like. I will be putting a full description of the amounts I've used of all the ingredients down in the description below. So if you're not catching everything as I'm going through it, no worries, it will all be underneath to be able to pick up all the actual quantities. To start out with the sauce, it's basically just a few real basic ingredients. Number one is soy sauce or tamari. Soy sauce is what you're most familiar with. Tamari is a little more of a refined kind of soy sauce, purely gluten-free if you do want to pay attention to your gluten content. So any kind of your favorite soy sauce or tamari is wonderful to go with that. Another one of the main ingredients is rice wine vinegar. There's seasoned rice wine vinegar, regular rice wine vinegar. All of them will work fine in this. This vinegar will bring on a different flavor than if you just use a plain white vinegar. This stuff's a little less tart than your normal vinegar, and it does contain some sugar. If you have the seasoned rice wine vinegar, it then also contains some salt. This is something that I hope to get into a little more in later videos as far as the different Oriental vinegars that we've got available to us. So we're gonna probably do pretty much the same quantity of these guys matching. Another important element is another kind of an Oriental sauce. Something that I have here is a black bean garlic sauce that is available at your local Oriental markets. Black bean garlic sauce and something like a hoisin sauce. Any one of these sort of sauces that you can find either at your grocery store or in your Oriental markets, the tastes are very, very similar. This guy's a little more garlicky, maybe has a little more spice, whereas the regular hoisin sauce is really similar in the base taste. So whatever it is that you may have on hand or able to find, either one of these guys will work perfectly fine. Any kind of a bean sauce, black bean sauce, bean garlic sauce, hoisin will work. If you are able to find an oyster sauce that does not actually contain oyster or oyster juice, that would also work. Also, tomato paste as something to give it a little more body and to bring out a little more of the red color in your sauce. Tomato paste is also good. If you don't have tomato paste, you can use ketchup. Honestly, ketchup will work perfectly fine. It just adds a little more sweetness. And along with talking about the sweetness, depending on how you like your sauce, you can add some brown sugar, regular sugar, agave syrup to this in order to bring it to the right kind of sweetness and or spice that you like. And speaking of spice, I like to add some red pepper flakes in order to bring up the spice in it. Now, depending on where you are in that continuum of spice, you may or may not want to include this. You may want to include a good bit, or you may want to leave it out completely. Those are the things that are going to make this your own and fit a little more into what it is that you like. Those kind of things. And as far as thickening the sauce, we are going to either make a little slurry of cornstarch, or while all these liquids are together, before they're heated up and simmered, which is what we're going to do, we can add a tablespoon or two of the cornstarch while it's cold, and then put this on the stove, warm it up with a little whisk or spoon, and just get it mixed up together. As long as you're adding the cornstarch before it's warm, you can add it ahead of time and just heat all this stuff up together in order to get your sauce. Or you can do all the ingredients, add some cornstarch as a cornstarch slurry that I've described in many of my videos, which is basically equal amounts of, say, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of water mixed up, and when all your liquids are warm, go ahead and pour this in and get to a thickness consistency that you like. So that's basically the sauce. I'm going to put this together. Like I said, you'll get all the quantities. Now, what are we going to put it on? Today, I am going to use cauliflower, and we're going to do a quick and easy batter as far as dipping our cauliflower in order to do a deep fry. And we're not doing a normal kind of a batter. It's kind of a cross between a tempura and a normal batter that you might be used to, such as a batter you would use on regular vegetables or fish substitutes, something that way. It's going to be leaning more toward tempura in order to keep it light and really crispy. In order to do that, we are going to combine rice flour. Rice flour is available in most grocery stores and markets. Any kind of rice flour will work, along with cornstarch. Now, we'll use a combined amount of these basically in the same quantity. So, half a cup of rice flour, half a cup of cornstarch, and maybe a quarter cup of regular old flour. And that can be a gluten-free flour if you're looking to stay gluten-free. But those combined with some water, get it mixed up to basically a thin batter consistency. If you're talking about like maybe a thin pancake batter consistency, you don't want it too thick. The cauliflower has a lot of nooks and crannies and does hold the batter on it pretty well. And I will show you how I'm doing that batter later in the video. But we're going to be doing rice flour, cornstarch, a little bit of regular flour, and water to make this batter. Of course, with General Tso's chicken or tofu or whatever, I like to have some fresh steamed broccoli. I'm actually going to be doing 2 of these guys here, but broccoli, just cut up, get your florets, steam it up. I love a lot of broccoli on the side because this sauce is so wonderful on it. You only need a little touch with these guys, and steamed broccoli is just a wonderful accompaniment. Also, as far as that, we are going to be doing it on a bed of rice, which we're going to just do a basic steamed rice as the bed with all these guys together. So hope you're following me. This isn't going to be very difficult at all, but from an impact of taste and look, this is a wonderful dish to be able to do to impress people and not do a quick old takeout that's going to run you $10, $12 on something that you can easily do at home and make it your own, get the flavors exactly like you like it. I always ask for extra spicy, and when I get it home, I'm still adding a lot of pepper to it. So easy to do as far as whether you like it spicy or not. Make it your own. I'll come back to you in a little while. We'll get our sauce started and see you in a few. Thanks. Okay guys, we're back. Had a lot of things going on while we were gone. Got the General sauce basically completely made. Took a picture of it. I mean, it's not a really pretty picture. It just looks like a brown goo sauce. We'll get into that a little bit more later. Also going on behind me, I've got water on to be steaming up the broccoli. I've got rice cooking, a couple cups of rice just as our base to doing this, and I've got the oil on for doing the deep fry on the little nuggets of cauliflower. Now what we're going to do, and the reason I wanted to show you this all the way, is the batter for the cauliflower is really important to get this to turn out in the way you want it to be, with just a light crispy batter without being too heavy. So I'm going to show you right now exactly what I'm going to do for that batter. I've got regular flour, I've got cornstarch, and rice flour. So I think what I'm going to do is basically just start out with 3/4 cups of each of these flours. Actually, 3/4 cups of these and a little bit less of the regular. So let's go ahead and get these guys in. And got some rice flour here. And I mean, the measurements honestly don't have to be exact. But what we do want are the ratios to be pretty close. So about that much of that one, and about the same amount of the cornstarch. And we'll try to prevent making a complete mess out of this. But that's what we do. So we've got equal amounts of those guys, of about 3/4 of a cup. And I'm going to do, like I said, maybe about a 1/2 cup of just regular flour. And that's about it right there. Half of one of those, so it might be a little less than 1/2 cup. So we've got that guy going in there. And what I'm going to do is add, and this is really important. Anytime you're making anything as far as like with a tempura, you want very cold water. I've got a pitcher of water that has been in the refrigerator 4 days. It's basically just our ice cold drinking water. So I'm gonna add in here. I don't know how much, and honestly, it doesn't really matter to you how much, because what we're doing is we're looking for a certain consistency. So just gonna use a whisk and get that going here. And as that gets going, we can get that into here. And the reason I brought a spoon along with our whisk is I want to make sure we get all of the stuff out of the edges around here. This isn't a perfectly round bowl, so you can see the gunk that was in the edges. So I just want to make sure that we get all of that also. And we're actually, strangely enough, out of either pure luck or an extreme amount of talent, we're pretty darn close to what we want with the amount that I just added there. And still a little bit of lumps in here, so I'm going to keep that going a little bit. Got it all out of the edges, and I'll get the whisk in here just to make sure that we don't have any more lumps. And now, this is definitely thinner than a cake batter, but it does have some viscosity to it and stays together. This is the kind of thing that you're going to be wanting for this batter. So you can see it's kind of thin, but also there, you know, it's kind of like, if you remember, like old buttermilk kind of thing. So got a little bit of, I'm trying to think of how to explain the consistency, kind of like maybe oil, where yeah, it runs really well, but it also kind of stays together. So we've got our batter here ready to go. Over on the stove, I've got our oil heated up and things going. So we've got this ready. Let's go ahead and take a trip over there and we'll show you coating these guys and getting them into the oil. See you in a couple. Okay guys, here we are. As you see, we've got a lot of stuff going on here. I've got our cauliflower that are basically cut up into bite-sized or slightly a little bit larger than bite-sized pieces. I don't know if you can call it golf ball size. Ready to go. Got our water on to steam our broccoli. Once we get some of the cauliflower done, I'll put the broccoli in, get a lid on it, and steam it. These guys only need steamed 3-4 minutes in order to be the consistency that I like it. We got our sauce back here, keeping warm, and so let's just go ahead and get some of these cauliflower in. And now, as you see, what I'm doing is just doing a quick dip, letting the batter run off and into our oil. And we'll do a bunch of these real quick. Just in, dip, oil. In, some of these smaller ones, quick, ready to go. In, batter run off, ready to go. And I do have a screen here to help prevent any kind of splatter onto the areas. Now we're getting a little later in here, so I really only want to get smaller pieces, but these guys are going to go really quick, and this will be the last piece I'll do. Now I'm going to go in here, just put the splatter guard on, rinse my fingers. You don't have to see that. And we're back. Now, I've got a metal spoon here. We can kind of move these guys around, keep them from sticking. And you can see these guys in here just going rather quickly. And as you can see, this is not a thick batter on here. This still looks like cauliflower, but it's got something on there that is going to hold the sauce really nice. So once we get these guys, basically all we're looking for is crispy and brown. I don't want a whole lot of weighty kind of thing, but because of the rice flour in here, this batter is going to be really crisp. Very similar to a tempura that you're used to from some Oriental restaurants. As you can see, these guys are browning up now pretty nicely. And the even after we take them out of here, the overflow heat is going to continue to cook the cauliflower in these guys. So it's not going to be crunchy. It is going to still be a little bit firm, but I don't know about you, but That's just my preference as far as with these guys. And we're just getting a little bit brown. And I mean, you can hear how crunchy these guys are in here. I mean, they're really ready to go. These small ones in here, I'll go ahead and take out. I just basically have a paper towel on a sheet pan. Then I'll go ahead and transfer these onto. And it is that quick, simple, and easy. And as you can see, there's not a lot of waste as far as from the batter in here. And we'll do another quickie there, drizzle off, get them in the oil. There, drizzle off, get them in. And we'll go ahead until we get this head of cauliflower going. And once I have the last batch in here, and this is a little bigger guy, might have wanted to cut him up a little bit better, but that'll be a nice little nugget in there. As I get closer and probably have the last batch in here, I'm going to go ahead and throw the cauliflower in to get that steamed up, and we'll be ready to go. Or the broccoli. I think I said cauliflower. We'll get that in and ready to go. So let me finish this up. I'll get the broccoli in steaming, and we'll meet you back at the table and get this guy plated up. So basically what I did with the cauliflower was just cut the individual florets away from the core in order to separate into bite-sized pieces approximately the size of a golf ball in order to get them ready for deep frying. Okay guys, here we're back. We've got our cauliflower that has been that lightly battered. You watched it happen. We've got our rice here, basically just steamed white rice ready to go. Got our broccoli here, steamed up, not till it's mushy, just till it's got a little bit of softness to it. Still hot and steaming. Our general sauce that we worked on, that you got to see from the beginning, and the full recipe is down below in the description. So let's see how we're going to go ahead and get this guy put together. Number one, we've got to get the sauce on our wonderful cauliflower here. So I'm just going to grab a handful of these guys and get them into just a bowl. And our sauce, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick drizzle over on here. And I just want to get this tossed around, kind of like we always did with buffalo wings. If you're familiar with saucing up wings before you've gone vegan, basically just getting the sauce tossed on these guys so they're nice and saucied up. So there we go. We got our sauced up cauliflower here, and we got our broccoli. So let me go ahead and move this to the side. And in order to make this nice and pretty, we're going to go ahead and get some of our rice down in the center of here. And we'll get a closer up of this once we get her going. Nice little bed of rice there, all in the middle. And then we'll go ahead and get our sauced up cauliflower right through. And you can see that sauced up pretty stuff in there. And then we're just going to go ahead and take our cauliflower and just get right around the sides with this. Sorry, broccoli. I keep calling it cauliflower. But as you see, we've got a nice amount of broccoli here. And as far as the broccoli, you know what? This is a lot of protein and flavor and ready to go in here. So there we've got our General Tso's cauliflower, and like I said, you don't necessarily have to use cauliflower. You can do the same thing with tofu, bean curd, whatever you like. Honestly, the sauce will make anything taste wonderful. I thank you for joining me today. Hopefully this was as easy to understand as it was to do. Honestly, the hardest part was just getting all this stuff in the end put together to come out at the same time and be nice and hot and ready to go. But the sauce is easy. You've got all the directions on that. You saw how we did the batter for the cauliflower, steamed up some broccoli, made some rice. You're ready to go. Thanks for joining me. Like, subscribe, click the bell in order to be notified when another video comes out. And please, let me know the kind of things that you're looking for. The reason I did this dish was because of all the reactions that I had from my other sites on this, and it deserves it. This is one of those really stellar dishes that you can do on your own, that you don't have to go and do takeout, and you're probably not going to go to your neighborhood strip mall Chinese place and be able to get the cauliflower like this ready to go. Vegan best. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you later. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you in a few days. Thanks.